organism. Now, as we have discussed yesterday about the root pressure and also we have seen the conducting tissue of the plants, today we are going to study about the transpiration pool and the transportation of food and other substances in plants that we have already done in the previous lectures, but we are going to do the revision of it so that we will clear our concepts. Now first we will start with the transpiration pool. Let's share the slides for you. Now, can you recall previously you have performed the activity of observing a branch covered in a plastic bag? Now, what did you observe in that activity? Now, students, if we tie a plastic bag to branch of the tree kept in the sunlight for 5 to 6 hours and then observe the plastic bag, we can see a droplets of water on the inner surface of the plastic bag. Now, why does this happen? Why does this happen? You can see in the picture a branch of the tree is tied with a plastic bag, and after 5 to 6 hours, you can observe droplets of water inside the bags are formed. Now, why does this happen? Let's see. See how the bag is tied this way. Transparent bag is tied to the branch of the plant. Then due to the transpiration, what happened? Due to the transpiration, water in the form of vapor through the stomata on the leaves appear. This process is known as what? Transpiration. Plants gives out the water in the form of vapor through the stomata. In the previous lecture, we have studied about the stomata. You can see in this picture also the shape of the stomatal cell. Here it is given. These are the guard cell having the aperture, that is the opening which will close and open, which is allowed by the guard cells to close and open the aperture, and these guard cells are covered by the epidermal cells. They are present on the green part of the plants. During photosynthesis, they will take the part for the formation of the food, and also the gaseous exchange they conduct. And here the transpiration, that is the release of water by the plants, excess of water has been released by the plants in the form of transpiration. Now here we can see here the amount of water present in the epidermis of the leaf decreases. The amount of water in the epidermis of the leaf decreases. Now, why does this happen? Due to the transpiration. As the water decreases, who will balance this water? As during the transpiration, the water is released from the stomata. Now, there will be the lack of water. There will be the lack of water in the plants. Now, who will balance this water quantity in the plants? Of course, xylem. How the xylem will balance the water? They will absorb the water from the soil and they will balance the water amount in the plants. As during the transpiration, there is a loss of water from the leaf or green part of the plants. So this water should be get balanced in the plants. Otherwise, the cells get shrink. If there is no water, the cells of the plants will get shrink, so that to fill that cells again, the xylem cells will absorb more of the water from the soil so that it will get balanced. The process of transpiration pool happens during daytime when the stomata are open. Stomata always open during the daytime and close during the nighttime. Stomata are open during the daytime and close during the nighttime. During the daytime, the stomata release the water from the plants, and this process is known as what? Transpiration. This process is known as what? Transpiration. The effect of root pressure is important during the night. Now during the day, the water from the plants has been transpired or released out of the water through the transpiration. Now that balance has been done by the xylem tissues, but this xylem tissue pull the water. Xylem tissues are absorbing the water with the help of the root pressure, as we have studied in the earlier lecture. With the help of the root pressure, by the technique of the root pressure, the xylem absorb the water from the soil. This root pressure is done during the night time. Xylem absorb the water from the soil, that is with the help of the root pressure during the night time. And transpiration, that is the release of the water from the plants through the stomatal opening, is during the daytime. But to balance the water level in the plants, xylem has to absorb the water with the help of the root pressure during the night time. Now, do you know the oak tree? You can see here the oak tree and maize crops also release the water, large amount of water during the daytime due to the transpiration. See here, the oak tree releases about 1,51 liters, 1,51,000 liters of water into the air by the process of transpiration in 1 year. See students, in 1 year, how much water has been, how many liters of water has been transpired from the oak plant in a year. It is 1,51,000 liters of water transpire from the oak tree into the air by the process of transpiration per year in 1 year. Okay, and maize plant in an area of 1 acre gives out about 11,400 to 15,100 liters of water per day. Corn plants, that is maize plant, release how much of water? 11,400 to 15,100 liters of water per day. The crops planted in a 1 acre of land. So we will see the video for the same. I will share the video for it. Now we will start the video from the beginning, so we will understood it in a better way. We will revise it also.
Transportation. Let us consider an example to understand the term transportation. A farmer transports water from wells or dams from the canals to the plants through channels. In the same way, the human digestive system and respiratory system work. In the human body, the digested food and oxygen inhaled by the lungs is supplied to all cells of the body. By the human digestive system, the food that we eat gets converted to energy. This energy and oxygen is transported to all the parts of the body through our blood. This process is called transportation. The substances synthesized or absorbed in one part of the body are moved to the other parts by the process of transportation. For the proper functioning of our body, we need vitamins and minerals which we obtain from the fruits and leafy vegetables that we consume. Like human beings, plants also need minerals. Besides carbon dioxide and oxygen, plants also need inorganic materials for synthesis of food materials and for the proper functioning of other life processes. From where do plants get inorganic materials other than carbon dioxide and oxygen? Plants absorb carbon dioxide and oxygen from air through gaseous exchange, which occurs through stomata. The other inorganic materials are absorbed from the soil with the help of the root system. The absorbed substances are then supplied to the required parts through a transport system. Now let us study the transport system in plants. Transportation in plants. Most animals show movement, but plants are stationary. They have many dead cells in their body. Thus, plants require less energy as compared to animals. Plants need inorganic materials like nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, manganese, sodium, etc. Soil is the nearest and the richest source of these minerals. The roots absorb these materials from the soil and transport them. Plants have two types of special tissues for transportation of materials: xylem and phloem. The xylem carries water and the phloem carries food material. All the parts of the plant are connected to these tissues. Let us study about the tissues involved in the transportation of water. Transportation of water in plants. Root pressure. Let us perform an activity to understand transportation of water in plants. Activity. Let us take a small herbaceous plant like periwinkle or balsam along with its roots. Wash its roots thoroughly by shaking it in a container filled in water. Place the plant in a beaker containing water and attach it to the stand with a clamp so that it remains erect with the roots spreading in the water. Add few drops of saffronin or red dye eosin to the water. Stir the water carefully with a glass rod. We see that the water turns red. After 2 to 3 hours, we shall observe the stem of the plant and the veins of the leaves. We see that the stem of the plant and the veins of the leaves have become red. Now let us take a thin transverse section of the stem of the plant and observe it under the compound microscope. We can see that the cells of xylem have become red in color. Why does this happen? Xylem, which is the water-conducting tissue, is situated in the vascular bundles present in the stem. Xylem is stained by the red dye saffronin. This activity demonstrates the upward movement of water from roots. If the same activity is performed using tuberose, we get a similar observation. Let us understand how water is actually absorbed through roots. Root cells are in contact with water and minerals present in the soil. Due to difference in the concentration, water and minerals enter the cells present on the surface of the roots. Thus, the cells become turgid. This exerts pressure on the neighboring cells. This is called as root pressure. This root pressure causes the water and minerals to reach the root xylem, and the water is pushed further and further to eliminate the difference in concentration. This steady movement creates a column of water which is slowly pushed upwards. This pressure is adequate to move water up in shrubs, small herbaceous plants, and even small trees. After understanding about root pressure, let us now learn about the mechanism of transpiration pull. Transpiration pull. If we tie a transparent plastic bag on a branch of a plant, keep it in sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, and then observe the plastic bag, what do you see? Yes, you are right. We see droplets of water on the inner surface of the plastic bag. Why does this happen? Plants give out water in the form of water vapor through the stomata present in the leaves. This process is called transpiration. Water is given out in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere through the leaves. Thus, the amount of water present in the epidermis of the leaves decreases. In order to replace the water which is lost, water is brought to the leaves through the xylem. This initiates the suction of water from the xylem cells of the roots, and the xylem cells of the roots in turn absorb more water. Thus, transpiration pull helps in absorption of water and minerals and also helps in conducting it to all the parts of the plant. This process happens when the stomata are open, that is, during daytime, while the effect of root pressure is important during night. Through the science window. An oak tree may transpire from its leaves approximately 1,51,000 liters of water per year, while an acre of corn crop gives off approximately 11,400 to 15,100 liters of water each day. Now let us proceed to learn about the transport of food and other substances in a plant. Transport of food and other
Okay, now we will see the next topic, that is transportation of food and other substances in plants. Now, the food produced in leaves transported to each cell in the plant body. The food, as we have discussed about the transportation in the previous lecture, that what is transportation? The food or anything synthesized, any material or substance is synthesized at the one part, but it is carried to the each and every part of the body. So that is known as the transportation. So the food produced in leaves is transported to each and every cells in the plant body. Now, where does this excess food which is not required by the plant body? Whatever is required is taken up by the plant body, but whatever is excess, the larger amount which is not required by the body is how it will be used up, like excess food except amino acid is stored in roots, fruits and seeds. The excess of food material stored in the roots, fruits and the seeds besides the amino acids has been not stored, only the excess food is stored in roots, fruits and seeds. And this process is known as what? Translocation. This process is known as what? Translocation. Now, throughout these lectures, you have come across the three letters, that is transportation, transpiration, and the translocation. Now, transportation is what? Preparing a substance at one part, but it will be transported to the each and every part of the body. It may be plant or it may be human being. Then transpiration is what? Removal or the leaf of the plant gives out the water in the form of vapors, and that is known as what? Transpiration. That is known as what? Transpiration, that is release of water from the plant body. Then what is translocation? Whatever food material is produced in the plants, it is in excess. The excess food material besides amino acid is stored in the roots, fruits and seeds. This is translocation. Storing of the excess food in the roots, fruits and seeds except the amino acids. So translocation, it is carried out in both the upward and the downward direction by the phloem. The translocation of the food, that is translocation means what? It is transporting the food material from the synthesized part to the each and every part of the cell, and this is carried out in upward and downward direction by the phloem. As we have studied earlier also, xylem will conduct the water and minerals in upward direction only, that is unidirectional, but phloem will distribute the food in both the direction, in two-way flow. So phloem will uh, carried out the food material or carry the food material to each and every cell of the body in upward and the downward direction. Okay. Now translocation of materials is not a simple physical process. It requires lot of energy by the plants. Translocation is not an easy process. It requires energy to do to conduct the food or to carry the food from one part to the each and every cell of the plant body. So it requires what? Energy. And from where this energy has been acquired? This energy is being obtained from ATP molecule, adenine triphosphate molecule. So this energy is nothing but the ATP molecule, which gives the energy to plants or phloem to transport the or to translocate the material from one part to the each and every cell of the plant body. Now, how this happens? Whenever food material like sucrose is transported towards a part of a plant via the phloem with the help of ATP, the water concentration decreases in that part. You can see here in this picture that the concentration of water molecule decreases here. Concentration, the amount of water molecule will decrease here due to the water, sucrose and ATP. As a result, water enter the cell by the process of diffusion. As the water molecules will decrease, the water will enter to it as the cell becomes shrink. Due to the concentration become less, the cell becomes shrink, so the water will enter into it with the by the process of diffusion. Through the diffusion, the water will enter into the cells. The pressure on the cell wall increases due to the increase in the cellular contents. You can see here the pressure on the cell wall increases due to the increase in cellular contents. We can also see here this is the xylem. Now this is the phloem. The concentration of the uh, water molecule will decreases here. So the water from the xylem will enter to the phloem so that they will absorb the water and they will become bulging so that they can exert the pressure. Due to the increased pressure, food is pushed into the neighboring cells where the pressure is low. You can see here where the food is less, there the food has been pushed with the help of the pressure given by the cell, the concentration of the cells, and this process helps the phloem to transport the materials as per the need of the plant. Whenever the plant cells requires the food material or the material which is required by them like water, sucrose, they will with the help of ATP energy they will transport it to the from one cell to the another cell. So during the flowering season, the sugar stored in roots or stem is transported towards the floral buds to make them open and blossom. During the flowering, like for example, when this water or sucrose is transported to the needed part or required part, for example, when there is a budding season, the sugar which is excess stored in the like if it is stored in the roots or if it is stored in the stem or the fruit seeds, they will be transported to that budding bud so that they will blossom in the season. They will open and blossom whenever there is a blossoming time. So at that time, the whatever food material is stored in the form of whatever food material is stored in the form of sucrose, it will be released at the time of uh, like if seeds needed it, if fruit needs it, if flowers needs it during the blossoming season. So as per the requirement, this stored food is being transported to the required part. So this is all about the transportation of food and other substances in plants. So we will see the video for it.
Other substances in plants. Food manufactured in the cells of the leaves is transported to every cell. Besides amino acids, excess food is stored in the roots, fruits, and seeds. This process is called translocation. The process of translocation takes place through phloem in the upward as well as downward direction. Translocation is not a simple physical process, but it needs energy. This energy is obtained from ATP. When food material like sucrose is transferred to the phloem tissue using ATP, the concentration of water molecules decreases in that area. This causes the movement of water into the cells due to osmosis. The increased contents within the cells exert a high amount of pressure on their walls. This pressure moves the food materials to the adjacent cells with low pressure. This allows the phloem to move material according to the plant's needs. In the flowering season, sugar stored in the roots or stem is translocated to the buds for growing them into flowers. After studying about the life process transportation, let us now learn about excretion.
Now we will see the video for the transpiration pool.
Keep it in sunlight for 5 to 6 hours and then observe the plastic bag. What do you see? Tie a transparent transpiration pull. If we tie a transparent plastic bag on a branch of a plant, keep it in sunlight for 5 to 6 hours and then observe the plastic bag, what do you see? Yes, you are right. We see droplets of water on the inner surface of the plastic bag. Why does this happen? Plants give out water in the form of water vapor through the stomata present in the leaves. This process is called transpiration. Water is given out in the form of water vapor in the atmosphere through the leaves. Thus, the amount of water present in the epidermis of the leaves decreases. In order to replace the water which is lost, water is brought to the leaves through the xylem. This initiates the suction of water from the xylem cells of the roots, and the xylem cells of the roots in turn absorb more water. Thus, transpiration pull helps in absorption of water and minerals and also helps in conducting it to all the parts of the plant. This process happens when the stomata are open, that is, during daytime, while the effect of root pressure is important during night. Through the science window. An oak tree may transpire from its leaves approximately 1,51,000 liters of water per year, while an acre of corn crop gives off approximately 11,400 to 15,100 liters of water each day. Now let us proceed to learn about the transport of food and other substances in a plant. Transport of food and other substances in plants. Food manufactured in the cells of the leaves is transported to every cell. Besides amino acids, excess food is stored in the roots, fruits, and seeds. This process is called translocation. The process of translocation takes place through phloem in the upward as well as downward direction. Translocation is not a simple physical process, but it needs energy. This energy is obtained from ATP. When food material like sucrose is transferred to the phloem tissue using ATP, the concentration of water molecules decreases in that area. This causes the movement of water into the cells due to osmosis. The increased contents within the cells exert a high amount of pressure on their walls. This pressure moves the food materials to the adjacent cells with low pressure. This allows the phloem to move material according to the plant's needs. In the flowering season, sugar stored in the roots or stem is translocated to the buds for growing them into flowers. After studying about the life process transportation, let us now learn about excretion.
Okay. Before revising it again, I would like you to write notes. One is transportation of food and other substances in plants, and other is transpiration. Now, in transportation of food and other substances in plants, write down the question or you can take the screenshot of it. On page number 165 of your textbook, the answer is given like the paragraph of transportation of food and other substances in plants. You can write that paragraph. For this, writing the note. And for the next question, that is transpiration, you can write the paragraph which is given on the page number 164 of your textbook. On page number 164, the transpiration full paragraph is given, that is plants gives off water in the form of vapor through the stomata on their leaves. So from there you can write till the during the night time. Till there paragraph you can write. So let's revise it from the beginning. Okay, now as we can see living and non-living things in this picture, we know that the living things are having the certain processes like nutrition, respiration, excretion, transportation, reproduction, sensitivity, and the growth. Now these processes we can only observe in the living things, but we cannot see in the non-living things. Now, we have also seen how our digestive system and respiratory system works. Like in transportation, farmer is bringing the water from the canals to its field. Like that only, the oxygen is being from the air has been taken and it is traveled throughout the body with the help of the blood. Also, likewise, digested food, whatever food we are eating, that nutrients has been mixed with blood so that it will get transported to the each and every part of the body. So blood is the main molecule for transporting the oxygen as well as the food material or nutrients from the food material. So this is the definition of transportation. Now what is transportation? Transportation is what is the process by which a substance either synthesized or absorbed in one part of the body are moved to the other parts. Now these are the two questions we have to find the answer for it. Like why do we eat fruits and vegetables? Do the plants also need minerals like we do? From where do the plants get inorganic substances other than the carbon dioxide and oxygen? As we have seen, the nutrients we get from the food as while having the healthy diet. Likewise, plants also get there along with the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Plants also require the inorganic materials. The gaseous exchange in the plants are carried out by the guard cells, which are present around the stomatal cells. Here also, the transportation of the food material. There is two types of conducting tissue, that is xylem and the phloem. In the xylem there is the xylem will conduct the water and minerals and phloem will conduct the food material. There are the oxygen is been released by the plants and carbon dioxide will be taken in by the plants, and inorganic materials like nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, manganese, and sodium are required by the inorganic substances. So, along with the oxygen and carbon dioxide, plants also require the inorganic materials. There are dead cells present as there is a less movement in the plants. They do not have to move like animals from one place to another. They require less of energy, so they are having the dead cell in them. Likewise, like they are having the xylem. Some of the xylem tissues are having the dead cells. The root present near the roots present near the soil, which is the rich source of water and the minerals. So they will absorb the water and minerals from the soil in the unidirectional way. They will on xylem is always work in a unidirectional way. That is, there is a movement of water in the upward direction only, and phloem will work in the two-way flow. That is, they will transport the food prepared by the prepared during the photosynthesis in the both the direction. So there are the two conducting tissues in the plants. One is xylem and the phloem. Xylem conducts the water and minerals, and phloem conducts the food material. We have seen this experiment where the periwinkle plant roots has been washed and then it is dipped with the beaker containing water having the safranin or eosin dye, and which will become red in color. So after 2 to 3 hours, if we observe it, water has been absorbed by the plants and the veins of the plants and the stem of the plant will turn red in color. It shows that the water has been moved in the upward direction through the xylem, and when the TS of it, transverse section of it, has been taken and observed in the microscope, we can see that the xylem does the activity of conducting water. Also here we have seen the root pressure. Now what is root pressure? The water, the roots present near the soil, they will absorb the water and the mineral due to the less concentration, and after absorbing the cell will be turgid. The cell will become turgid, so they will exert the pressure on the adjacent cell, and after this having the root pressure, they will transfer the water to the adjacent cells also. So there will be the movement of water in the upward direction. The root pressure is adequate to move the water up in shrubs, small plants, or small herbaceous plants, and even in the small trees. So that root pressure is adequate to transport the water. Here is the diagram given in your textbook on page number 164 of the root pressure, how the root pressure process has been carried out. These two questions we have discussed yesterday. Now, in today's lecture, we have discussed about the transpiration pool. Here, the bag has been tied to the branch of the plant, where after observing after 5 to 6 hours, we can see the droplets of the water. Like here, we have to tie the bag. Here is the small experiment where we can see the transpiration, how the transpiration carried out. Uh, the plastic transparent bag has been tied to the branch of the plant. After 5 to 6 hours, we can see the droplets form inside the plastic bag due to the transpiration which is carried out by the stomatal opening. This is the cell of the stomata. There is a aperture opening which is open during the daytime only and closed during the night time. These are the two yellow color guard cell you can see here. Yellow color the guard cells are given, which are kidney or bean shape, and they are guarded by the epidermal cells which are present on the green part of the plant, so that the transpiration is what there is the water released by the plants in the form of the vapor during the daytime. That is the transpiration. The amount of water present in the epidermis of the leaves decreases due to the transpiration. What happened? There is a water loss. So this water loss has been balanced by the xylem cells. During the night time, the xylem will absorb the water from the soil so that the water level become balanced in the plants, which is lost during the transpiration. So the process of transpiration pools happens during daytime when the stomata are open. The process of transpiration pool happens during daytime when the stomata are open. So there is a release of water or the water vapors are formed. Sometimes you might have seen there is a droplets of water on leaf during the daytime. Why this has happened? Of course, by the transpiration. You can see here the water level which is imbalance, or there is a loss of water which will be balanced by the xylem by absorbing the water from the soil during the night time. And we have seen how much is the oak tree and maize plant has released the water. Oak tree has transpired about 1,51,000 liters of water per day, and an acre, 1 acre land which having corn plants in it, maize plants having which gives off approximately 11,400 to 15,100 liters of water per day. Also, we have seen the transportation of food and other substances in plants. Now, whatever food material is produced in the plants, the excess of food material is stored in the roots, fruits, and seeds of the plants. Besides the amino acids are not stored in the plants. but the whatever material is in excess, like sucrose, if it is in excess, it is stored in the roots, fruits, and seeds. And phloem transport the food material in both the direction. There is a two-way flow, we can see here. And this phloem will transport the water. It is not an easy process. It requires what? Energy. And that energy is given to the plant of phloem by the ATP, that is adenosine phosphate molecule. So the ATP molecule has to be there, so that with the help of energy, the food will be conducted by the phloem. Now, if there is a less concentration of water molecules, the water will be absorbed by the xylem, and there will be the balance in the water molecules. When it becomes turgid, they will exert the uh, pressure on the adjacent cell, as we have seen in the root pressure. Likewise, here also the water concentration is increased, and they will exert a pressure on the adjacent cell, and particles has been uh, divided equally in the each and every cells. We can see here the food material will goes to the another cells. And during the blossoming season, whenever the bird is required the sucrose, they will get this stored sucrose from the plants during the time of blossoming, so that bird get blossom or open. We have already discussed these two questions, so we will stop here only. I hope you have understood the lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to study about the excretion. Yesterday also I have told you about what is excretion. Excretion is what? It is the throwing out of the unwanted material, like in plants. As we see, the amino acid is not stored in the plants, it is thrown out of the plant body. So like that, in our body also the waste material has been produced. So how it is thrown out of the body, that that process is known as what? Excretion. That process is known as what? Excretion. So excretion is basically what? Throwing out of the waste material from body. Like in house also, we are every day we are cleaning with the cleaning the waste product with the broom, or uh, any dirt is there, we are cleaning with the broom. Why we are cleaning? So that our house will we have to keep our house clean. So like that also our body and plants also want to keep their body clean. So like that, um, we have to throw out the waste product out of it. So that procedure is known as excretion. We will study this process of excretion in details tomorrow. So be ready for it. Read the page number 165 and page number 166 in your textbook, so that when we are talking tomorrow about this, or we are discussing about it, you will understood it in a better way. So we will stop here only.